Ooh-wee. Been waiting a long time to open this package. So let's do it together. This is the new to me Pat McGrath concealer. So let's go for it. Perfect. There we go. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's pretty cool, pretty cool. I have here the Skin Fetish foundation to compare and contrast. I ordered this same shade as my foundation, Light 3. So as far as I know, they designed this so that you use the exact same shade as you do the foundation. I know, for example, there was a lot of confusion when Fenty Beauty brought out their concealer because it wasn't made to match number by number to the foundation. But yes, so weightless, full coverage, high performance, runway tested, mother approved. That's what I like to hear. So there she is. It's a heavy glass container. It's a heavy glass container. What more do you want? You see that? Obviously it doesn't match. The inside of my arm is the lightest part of my body. That's okay. Shall we compare the foundation next to it? Sure. So it's pretty close. Because it's higher coverage than the foundation, it does look darker, but we'll see how it is once it goes on the skin. I know everybody was really excited that after releasing such a light coverage foundation that the concealer was fuller coverage. So I've just got out of the shower, did a little bit of skincare, and put my eyebrows on. I thought I might try the concealer on and treat it kind of the way that Katie Jane Hughes does, where she doesn't always wear foundation. She often just spot corrects or puts concealer all over her skin. This is a good day for it. My skin's a little upset. I've got some weirdness. So let's see. I gotta really scrunch my damp hair to get any kind of wave or curl happening. Okay, so I'm gonna start just under the eyes because that's always where I need kind of the most help with the blue discoloration here and to just brighten things up. I'm gonna start there. Maybe start with my phalanges. It feels very creamy. That was probably too much, but I'll blend it down. I think it's a good color match. It's definitely warm. Let's see about blending these edges out. Sometimes I find with concealers that feel more creamy, once you start blending them away, you lose coverage. It doesn't really appear to be happening here, which is good. I'm gonna bring it across my eyeball. Cool. Very nice. I don't know whether this is like a self-setting concealer. I don't recall from having watched other people use it. Okay, so I'll try to put about the same amount, even though it was too much on this side. And then I'll use my finger and a sponge. I always try to concentrate most of the product here. I find also because I wear glasses, like I wear good quality lenses, and so they're not actually creating darkness around my eye, but just the actual, but just having something actually in front of your eyes casts a little more shadow than, you know, absolutely nothing would. And so that's why often under the eyes is just like the main concern of mine, even if I'm just going for a no makeup day. Going in with my e.l.f. Total Face Sponge, I think it's called. Okay. Definitely getting better coverage on this side that I use my finger and the brush, which is not surprising because the sponge is damp and it will shear out product. Let's deal with what's happening down here. Now I know that, like the foundation, this concealer, whoa, that is full coverage. I definitely used too much. Okay, a little bit is really going a long way here. Wow. Sorry, I was saying, I know that this concealer, like the foundation, is marketed or sold with a brush to apply. So Pat made her own concealer brush to use this with, and it's quite a dense, small brush. I forget that this is a nice way to do makeup, just concealing spots here and there. I suppose I gravitate towards foundation because it's fast. Like it's just one quick product kind of everywhere, and then go from there. But I used to only wear concealer and a little powder. Those were the days. Near the end of university. Maybe it was just because I was short on time. It's covered the spot I had by the corner of my mouth really nicely. I was very worried that it would, like any product, would just attach to that gross spot. Gross spot. This is my everyday hair routine, which is just letting my hair air dry and scrunch it and twist it, pull it, twist it, bop it. So I've got some redness there. I think it's just from touching my face. So let's be a little less generous. Move the product around, see if it does what I want. I have in the past avoided applying makeup like this with a smaller fluffy brush. One, because it does take longer, and sometimes my hands get tired. But also, my skin is quite sensitive and so will get red, like I said, just from touching it. And so I have in the past avoided really buffing things into my skin and have preferred to press and dab, you know, with a sponge. Because even though I'm being gentle and using a very soft brush, that little bit of friction is technically exfoliating the skin minutely. And then I think I just need a little bit kind of here. My forehead is pretty much the most even part of my skin, and so is often where I like to match product. On my cheek here, I have the most redness, which doesn't mean I have a red undertone, it just means I have red surface color. And this part of my face tends to be darker, and so I find like the truest match to my neck and my body is my forehead. You got me? Great. Oof. I often think, is it better to just use a little bit of a full coverage concealer, really work it around, or stick with a foundation and then spot conceal? I mean, different strokes for different folks, but concealer is more concentrated, comes in smaller quantities. Haven't done the cost-benefit analysis, so who can say? It's looking a little dark as it sets down. Not dark, like it's still a good exact match to the foundation, but maybe it would be handy to have like a shade lighter for under the eyes. I mean, it's looking very even on camera, but sometimes, like I said, with the glasses stitch, I like to go a little bit brighter here and really bring that part of my face forward. I'll have to look up how much it cost. It obviously is a luxury product. I believe I did manage to get it on sale. Hot tip, during the biannual Sephora sale, a lot of other makeup brands offer discounts directly from them. And I started loading some items in my cart for the Sephora sale and realized most of them were Pat McGrath products, including this concealer. And then Pat McGrath sent an email saying I could get 20% off. And that was more than the 15 Sephora was going to give me, so I canceled, or I did not go through with my Sephora order and just ordered this single concealer directly from Pat. If you're thinking about ordering to Canada, Pat McGrath Labs now incorporates duties into their pricing. Those first few special edition sets that I ordered from Pat McGrath that you can see in my Pat McGrath haul video, I had to pay some, not major duties, but I had to pay duties on them, which is always annoying. Okay, let's do a little powder. Clarins Mineral Loose Powder. Gonna use the same brush. Lightly press. So this Pat McGrath concealer also was sold with, or not with, you could purchase as well, some under eye setting powders, which perhaps would be nice. I feel like a brightening powder under the eye would be good. I can see how this is going to pair nicely with the Pat McGrath foundation because that's sheer and dewy and glowy, and this is more coverage. It's still pretty glowy, I must say. Alright, so I have gone and taken Amigo for a walk and picked up some snacks, and while I finish off this look with a bright pink Mcgrath lipstick, I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this concealer. It is now future times, and so I have used it a few more times, and overall, it's a very nice concealer. However, the shade is just a hair too dark for me. The consistency is really nice and comfortable on the skin, especially for a fuller coverage concealer. It's very pigmented and spreads easily on the skin, so you really don't need a lot. It does not set down immediately, so under my eyes I for sure wanted to set it with some powder, but on the rest of my face I did find that it wore comfortably without being set with powder. As I mentioned, the color was a little bit dark for me, and I found that under the eyes, when I set it, it got even darker. It was much better when I used a completely translucent powder like the RCMA No Color powder. But for example, when I set it with my Clarins powder, which does have a little bit of a tint to it, it just made the under eyes look even darker and kind of receded into my face. It did last a really long time, which was nice, and seemed to be pretty transfer proof. So like I said, because of how pigmented the concealer is, it needs to be like a really good match to your skin and your undertone. I think the undertone was fine for me, a hair warm, but it was just a little bit too dark because I mostly use concealer under my eyes. And so I do need a little bit of a brightening there. So I will likely end up purchasing the next shade down, which is shade Light 2, which is described as the lightest with neutral peach undertones, which hopefully will brighten my under eyes. Now, because of the current COVID-19 lockdown procedures, I wasn't able to swatch this concealer first before buying it. I went off of the website and the foundation shade that I use in the Pat McGrath foundation. So in the future, if you're able, I would definitely recommend going in person, as always, and trying out the concealer ahead of time. It didn't cling to dry patches, which was nice and surprising again for a full coverage concealer. So it really kind of flexed with your skin and looked like skin. And on that note, it was much more luminous and lightweight than I expected for a higher coverage concealer. And it is pricey, but given how little you need of it, I feel like if you get a good match in this concealer, it's going to last you a really long time. So, like I said, like most concealers and foundations, it dried down a little bit darker. So keep that in mind when purchasing. I mean, that's the case for pretty much all concealers and foundations I have found. And I can also include here a comparison of swatches. So you'll see the first swatch is the Pat McGrath concealer, and then I've added a bunch of other concealers that I use fairly regularly. So yeah, overall really nice concealer, but the color was just not what I needed it to be. So I'll save my pennies and maybe get a new one. Alright, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.